So I was approached with a problem at a community day. There seems to be the need for a clarification as to political signs, any kind of political paraphernalia, whether or not it's allowed on township property. I didn't look at this myself. I was told that it's not actually spelled out, like on the website anywhere under Parks and Rec or something like that. So if that's the case, maybe the supervisors could actually put something on there for future reference.
So here's what I'll let you know, the background. For most, even before us, there was no political events or any activity in the township or on township properties, parks, anywhere. We had, 2 years ago, we gave exception to have the voter registration booth for the Women's Registration League. And that, I think the booth was taken over by, last year by West Whiteland Dems. I think they were running it. But no, we didn't have any signs, but this...
Yeah, not last year, right?
Yeah. And this year, I think both sides were standing up a little bit. Both sides had their political signs there, and I personally am of the opinion that we should not have that on the community day. I understand it's in the Goshen Fair, but fairs are different from community day. So, and you really don't want people coming there, because you need one person there, you get one group, the other is going to come, then there's going to be other extreme group coming in tomorrow. The Proud Boys will be here to have an event there, and that's what we don't want, any extreme things going on there. That's why having no political is my opinion. That can change tomorrow with the other board members saying, yeah, we'll allow.
Actually, Raj, I've got the law. So, Friends of the Park is the organization that runs all of our park and recreation events. They pay for it out of fundraising and fees that they get from various crafters during the 2 craft fairs. So Friends of the Park pays for the majority of the event at Community Day. And Friends of the Park is a 501c3. And what a 501c3 is tax-exempt, federal tax-exempt organization. And under the Internal Revenue Code for 501cs, there's absolute prohibition of directly or indirectly intervening in a political campaign in behalf of or in opposition of any political party. The reason in years past, before 2022 and 2023, we did not permit political tables is because of the hairy edge that you're standing on, and we could lose the 501c3 status for Friends of the Park.
Bullshit.
So when last year went fine, because there were no political signs, including a sign that said what political party was running the table. This year, both parties crossed the line and had campaigning going on and had political signs at their stations. So that put Friends of the Park at risk of losing the 501c3, which is why I told them to stop it.
No, she didn't just tell them. She threw a
Friends of
freaking
the Park
temper
is an
tantrum,
incredible
ripped down
organization.
signs,
They provide
screamed
us
at
with
sitting
everything
judges.
from concerts to egg hunt, the tree lighting, the
Essentially
holiday
rude as fuck.
light contest, as well as 2 craft fairs and Community Day. The only thing the township paid for in Community Day was the fireworks and the petting zoo. Everything else you saw there was part of Friends of the Park and their expenditures, including the giveaways at the Friends of the Park booth. To lose that organization would be a huge deficit to the township, and a lot of these events would dry up because the township can't fund them, okay?
Bullshit.
So that's it. Now, if Sean or Pam would like to chime in, am I correct about the 501c3?
Of course, yeah, that's a slippery slope, but the township can regulate, can prevent political lawn signs, political activity from happening on their property. That we often deal with those situations in right-of-ways and things like that with signs. every township frankly treats it slightly differently. Pretty much all of them prohibit it for the most part. So.
Thank you.
Could you put that on the website for future reference so that you clearly have a position, but the public is
Yeah.
answer?
Yeah, I think that wasn't clear. I think we should have been more clear on the communication of what was allowed or not, but we'll definitely work on it.
Yeah, we can.
May I ask a
put that on
question?
Yes.
I can ask a question?
Yes, Libby.
Okay. Since I'm the one who had the sign there, we did have a sign last year, not just this year. We had a sign that said face painting courtesy of West Whiteland Democrats. And so if what I'm hearing you say is we are allowed to have a table, but we may not identify ourselves. So we can come and face paint for free for 3 or 4 hours. Just don't tell anybody who we are. That's what I hear you saying?
I mean, you see, maybe it's a community event. We really did not want that, but I mean, the reason we had the booth before was for just voter registration, and that we were fine with it. That's why we had, and I did not know whether last year we had a sign or not because I spend most of my community time in the dunk tank. but
They should put Teresa in the dunk tank.
and we would be more clear on that, and maybe if the municipality them chooses not to be there because they cannot do that, that's also fine with us. But
Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense for us to do it if we can't even identify ourselves.
And I agree with you. You might say, why am I doing this? Why am I spending my 3-4 hours of here?
And why are they spending their money for a township that is not welcoming?
Face painting on all the booths like yours. There was some other ones, and it went even into the dark when everything was, the lights were going down. There were folks using their cell phones, lights to help folks paint the faces. So I mean, understand it's popular.
He's not even making sense.
The decision may not be popular with both sides, but you can decide.
Oh, Teresa has to have the last word.
I mean, you understand.
Raj, you better shut up now. Teresa wants to talk.
Hey, Libby, have you thought about approaching the Friends of the Park to have your own booth, and you could actually charge like a nominal fee? I'm not kidding. I saw your art, and I saw the faces. They were fantastic. I'm just saying.
Then why were you so rude to her, Teresa?
That can be a fundraising event.
And you could, and then you could do with it as you please with whatever fund you raise. It's too slippery a slope. Next year's a presidential campaign. It's going to be tenuous and it's going to be contentious. And I really don't think it's healthy for the Friends of the Park, who is a nonpartisan organization in the township, to be put in the position to have to make decisions.
The problem with this argument is neither party was politicking or
I just want to
campaigning.
add too, so there was a couple other partners, the county partners with us, and along with Church Farm School and the Chester County Library. So they're all partners, and we did have the recap of the meeting in, or after the event in August. So they are the county's recommending no politics at the event. So that's still to be determined.
But it's still not Teresa Hogan Santa Lucia's job
and
to police it.
They actually oversee all of the vendors at the event. So.
Thank you.
And as far as voter registration, we do have our state rep, senator, and our federal rep. And if a federal senator wanted to have a booth, they would get one too. They just don't come this far. So what I'm saying is, voter registration was an option at any one of those booths, and they were just offering constituent services. And
Oh, yeah,
so
sure.
That's the key.
And that's the thing. They're there. They're offering voter registration. It's not like there's no voter registration available. And I just feel like next year is not the year to have a political booth of any kind.
Maybe next year's the year that Teresa stays home.
Joanne, thank you for asking.
Okay. Next we